first thought, submit spirit to form matter. Our celestial humanity arrives, awake in a dream, an inception of our reality. So we live, we love, and then there is music. So we dance, we sing, we praise, we reflect. In the infinite in between, the now that was, faces dance in our dreams. Some familiar, some
a singular
cosmic composition. In the irrelevance of this time, we realize the passion of the random action, learning the lesson that the brotherhood of man is far more important than the ego of any individual. Imagination becomes the sound of thought, traveling at the speed of light. So we paint on the canvas of our ephemeral encounters, a masterpiece of memory that lives in the eternity of a child's.
Until I can't spend anymore, and then it's a release. It's a release because the pain, the physical pain of grief is horrendous because you don't understand it, because it'll come on you when you least expect it. And then you go like, where did that come from? And sometimes it will leave as quickly as it came. But you gotta figure out what you need to do. I haven't had felt the need. Well, let's put it this way. I haven't thrown anything out there to the place, and I can't bust out the windows. But the scream doesn't. I just scream. And then I've had days where I've cried the entire day.
Yeah.
The entire day. Just scream. But that helps. And being busy.
Yeah.
And I say that to anybody who's going through anything. You don't necessarily have to be lost. But when you're going through some heavy stuff, keep your...
Okay, Evelyn.
All right.
How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Still a day by day thing, but I'm okay today. My day starts has been good so far.
We've been talking about a lot about family and stuff that goes on. Last time I talked to you, everything was a complete circle and whatnot, and now you're dealing with loss of your mate, and we wanted to talk to you about the transitions you made throughout this time, and ask you a few questions about that.
Okay.
What is good grief, and what are some ways that you can handle loss?
What I consider good grief is the ability to allow yourself to grieve, to embrace your loss, and not deny yourself what you're feeling, because it's so traumatic. It's so traumatic that though you have to allow yourself. You can't wait for somebody else to give you permission to feel what you're feeling, whatever it is in that moment. Because when that strikes, you really, and I now know absolutely for sure, certain, you don't know how you are going to react. So you must be able to give yourself permission to feel whatever it is that you're feeling in that moment, and at that time, when it hits, and you gotta go, you're lost, and so you don't know what you're doing. You just don't. Everything is a blur, but you gotta be able to allow yourself the reality of this is what's going on with me right now. You don't know if you're gonna come through it or not, but in that moment, you gotta give yourself the permission that this is where I'm at in this moment. This is where I'm at, and I base that on to the scripture where in John, it's always been very heavy verse for me. When Jesus came to the grave of where Lazarus was, and the verse just says Jesus wept. That meant that Jesus allowed himself to feel what he felt about Lazarus. It was no, I'm God the Son, so I shouldn't do this. No, Jesus set the example for us about grieving. Weep, do what you're going to, As also in Matthew says, blessed are they that mourn, because we shall be comforted, So, allow yourself, that's what I call good grief, is being realistic and allowing yourself to feel the loss, to absolutely feel and acknowledge the loss, because you're going to have a whole lot of other stuff to deal with.
So, having said all that, how should we treat those if you're not grieving? How should we treat those that's experiencing grief and loss?
Come to a realization. First of all,
and also the proper attitude towards God.
Yeah, the first of all, I'm speaking. This when we're talking. This is strictly from my perspective and what I've gone through. This is not a blanket overall thing for everybody else. When we have somebody that loses someone, we also feel at a loss. We want to be able to comfort that person, but we can't. I've come to realize that absolutely nobody on this earth can give me the comfort that I absolutely need. You can't do that because you're a human being. Only God can give me that. So if I come to understand that, then how do I treat somebody who is going through? By just gently letting them know. First of all, do away with the cliches. Don't say the stuff. We don't mean people. First of all, let me understand. People don't mean any harm. It's just because we don't know what to do. We don't know what to say. We don't know. We grappling to comfort that person. But we do need to just stop saying the stuff that we say in that moment of, oh, they're in a better place. Or if you lost a child, God needed an angel, so he took you. We don't receive that. You can't receive that because you're looking like, you know what? Somewhere in my recesses, I know that, but I don't want to hear you saying that. But because we're human beings, we grapple to find out how to comfort that person. So the best way to comfort someone is just to hug them. Don't say anything. Don't speak. Just hug them. Let them know, though, that, look, I'm here for you. And leave it at that. Like, when you need me, not if you need me, because we're going to need you. It's when you need me, call me. Just a real, something real simple is just to let them know I'm thinking about you. I'll be praying for you. I love you. Keep it real simple. Don't use a lot of platitudes and cliches and stuff like that. And be there for them, even if it's just to sit with them. Sometimes the person that's grieving, silence is all that they can handle. And sometimes it is a comfort to know that somebody might be just sitting right beside them. They don't need to talk. You're just there. Just your presence is comforting enough. It's just that, or just you go and you do something for them and then you leave. Because sometimes that person just can't handle talking to people and being with people and stuff. And so you just find that way. If you really know that person, then you know how they really operate. And it's like, you know what? I know Evelyn can't handle a lot of this, so I will get her a meal and I'll put that in the house or whatever. And sometimes if you have availability to that person while they're grieving, you come in and figure out how to work their audio or whatever and turn on some music or something. But the simplest of things are the most comforting, because words, when you're in my situation, the way I lost Rudy, there was nobody, no person, and there was nothing anybody could say to me that would make me not be untraumatized. But the comfort, the real comfort in that moment, in that exact moment when that happened, my comfort was, number one, my daughter Rachel was here, and Cassie, and then Heyman was there, Yvonne and Rachel's best friend were there with us in that moment, and they were just there. They were there, and that was the comfort. And so that's what I said. That's what we need. That's how we need to handle it. Is just be there. You don't have to talk. But just be there, because we, in the trauma of it, most of the time we don't know anybody. We don't remember who's been around us or whatever. But it's just like the Lord, as in preparing for this, the Lord helped me to remember who was absolutely there. And so that's to me is the way. It's be as gentle as you can, using as less words as necessary. Only respond if that person who's going through, if they call you and make a request of you, try to make yourself available to them. If they just call you and say, you know what, could you come and just sit with me? And if they're specific about, say, come and just sit with me, put your mind frame that you're just coming and sitting with them. You ain't gonna talk. Only if they want you to talk. But yeah, you say, yeah, I'll come sit with you. Because like I said, sometimes all you want is just somebody just sit there, just to sit and be there with you. So that's about as simple. I want to keep it as simple as, because the process itself is rough enough. But if I can give a few tips on, like, just keep it simple. Just keep it simple like that.
And with all that, there's a lot of frustration and misunderstanding and different doubts and stuff come in your mind. So what is the proper attitude towards God in the midst of loss and grief?
Well, first of all, depending on where you are in your spiritual walk, you're gonna have a different type of attitude toward God. You really are. You just are. If you're a babe or whatever, and you haven't had that reality check talk and all that disgusting death, you're gonna get mad at God, because you're gonna say, God, why'd you take my husband? God, why'd you take my child? God, why did you? And because in that moment you kind of feel bad. But I can honestly say, and God knows, I was not angry with God. Rudy and I had talked about death throughout the years. We were together for 53 years. So it wasn't a fear or anything like that. I I wasn't angry at God. I was angry at Rudy. um, but I was not angry at God. In the sense of, let me put it this way. I wasn't angry at God in the sense of, why did you take Rudy like that? I did have anger at God, but it was for selfish reasons. God, why didn't you let me know that this was coming? That was the kind of anger I had. Why don't you let me know in advance? And I think some of us, I know I'm not alone and things like, but that's where my anger was. I was never angry at God about, because first and foremost too, I knew how much Rudy loved the Lord. I know Rudy was ready and prepared to go to be with the Lord, but it was still a shock. I mean, it's just a shock. It wasn't like he was ill in the hospital and the doctor said it. And so I wasn't angry like that. And I think that if we do have that kind of anger about, well, God, why did, it's okay. Because the shock of everything, when it starts happening, the shock of it is, we do look for somebody to blame. We need something, someone, whatever, to blame. So God is an easy target because the way we're taught, God is a God. But when you, like I said, wherever you are, as you grow, you do know that the reality is that all through the scriptures, God tells us how many days that we got here. He knows that he done told us we gonna leave here. But the thing is, we don't live in the reality that death is coming. We don't live that way. We live as though we're gonna live on this earth forever. We're gonna stay in this realm forever. So we do unconsciously. I'm not saying that we do it because we go from day to day. And if I get up tomorrow morning, I'm like, oh, it's another day. So that's where it comes from. So when that gets that routine that we have, the routine of living gets interrupted, then we look for something like, God, what are you doing? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? And so I say, you can be angry with God. Like I said, this is my personal feeling. You can be angry with God. It's just like it says, you can be angry, but sin not. Meaning, don't stop blaspheming against God. Because in reality, you got to look at, too, your loved one or whoever. How were they living? Like in particular, I'm talking about being a widow. You gotta use the reality of how was your mate living their life. What was their life about? How was they living? So that you can know that God wasn't purposely seeking out your mate to just zap them and take them away. But if it was their time, and God is not gonna reveal His plans like that to us, because we would be manipulating God. Like, God, I'm not ready to let my mate go. I was not hardly ready to let Rudy go. But the thing is that what I come to realize more and more, Rudy was ready to go. To the point where that he didn't share with me about that he was ready to go like that. We had conversations, but I'm saying in retrospect, people that he talked to, the conversations he had with people, let me know Rudy was ready to go. And so that also helped me. It smoothed the way for me, and I had to constantly say, as the smoke started to clear, God, I'm not angry with you. I'm sad. I'm beyond sad. Sad is only the word that I can use because I don't know any other word to use. The loss runs so deep, but I was not mad at God. I can honestly say I was not mad at God. I didn't have a reason to be angry with God because God didn't do it. He didn't even, it wasn't like that. It wasn't that negative thing, if you're a God of love, why would you let Rudy go? No, it wasn't like that. Plus, I'm someone, I realize
older in the Lord than a lot of people. I've done a lot more studying. I've entered into a lot more, but it was like, the reality of was God said 10 and 80 if you're strong. So Rudy got past the 10. He made it 5 years past the 10. He was trying to make it to 80. So I'm just saying he was on God's time, and so I had to reckon with that though. I had to reckon with it because the loss is deep. It's real deep. But every day I can honestly say it's been January the 2nd, 2024. It was the anniversary of 2 years. I can honestly say I have not been angry with God about Rudy's transition, going home. I can't say that. And I will not judge anybody who experiences anger toward God. I won't judge them. I will try to help them to get through it, to work out the anger with God. But I won't. Because it's like with almost anything. Until you worked in that person's shoes, you don't know. You don't know how you're gonna react. You just don't know. You don't know. And I'm saying I believe maybe even the strongest of Christians could be still very, very angry with God. Like, why you leave me here by myself? Like that. Like I said, that anger, no. Questioning, yeah, but not anger. Questioning means like, okay, what I'm supposed to do now? What's my purpose? Or why you leave me here? Why are you leaving me here? But not angry. That kind of anger with it. If I could wrestle with God, I'd knock him out. Not that kind of thing. Not at all. Nah. But like I said, I won't judge anybody. I suggest that person, though, if they have extreme anger, that they talk to somebody. They need to talk to, and for me, in this instance, I prefer if they could talk to somebody that's spiritual. Talk to, get some counseling from a pastor or your pastoral staff, or to help you work through that kind of anger, because you can become borderline, because of course you know that the devil wants you to be that angry, where that you blaspheme against God and you turn totally against God and you blame God, and that's why I say getting counsel also. If you don't, it will keep you from moving forward. You won't work through your grief. You'll be stuck. You will be stuck. And also, people will start walking on eggshells around you because they don't know what to say to you. There'll be people who could become afraid to mention God's name around you. You know what I'm saying? If you're that angry with God, and they won't know what to do. So.
What is the ultimate dynamic of family?
The ultimate dynamic of family should be love, support, caring, holding each other up, pushing each other forward in a positive sense. It should just be absolutely moving, so that from generation to generation, I look at it, even though I know we're in bad times and stuff, but I'm saying the dynamic of the family should be a legacy of moving each generation farther along in a positive state. We shouldn't be at the same, like so many black folks. We started out in abject poverty because we were slaves. That's abject poverty. We had nothing. But as you see, each generation from after slavery ended, Black folks try to better themselves, period. So that's the thing of family. That sense of family was like, too, if I had one potato, I'm going to split that potato so the rest of the family could eat. And that's what the dynamic of the family should be, is that I should be willing to help you reach your dream.
And remembering the greatness that we were before
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why I said
you don't out here in America.
Yeah, you don't sit back here wallowing in about what this, that, and even within family. Okay, so you come. Okay, in your upbringing. Okay, so you came up poor as such. Okay, so what you gonna do about it? Don't sit back and wallow in. Well, you know, I get so sick of hearing it. Well, you know, my daddy. Okay, so your daddy left. What are you doing to make sure that you don't be a daddy leaving somebody? So that's what the whole dynamic of family is. How do I make it? Yes, breaking generational curses. How do I make it better for the next leg of our legacy? How do I promote you? I might not understand what you're doing or what your goals are, but if they're positive, I should get behind you and promote you and say, keep it moving, because that's how we changing, and that's and not being I think some of the worst stuff happens within family because jealousy. I mean, because we're human beings, jealousy rears its head, all kind of stuff. But I should promote you, period. If you're moving positive, if this is what your dream is, I should say, you know what, go with God. You know, I hope you reach I hope I reach your dream. And I'm not, and I should purpose in my heart. I'm not going to do anything that's going to stand in the way of you reaching what you want to do. Because as we teach each generation, they teach the next generation. So the way, like with you and I, if the way I treat you, if you had children, like for instance, like I said, Kasi watches me and your interaction. So that's how he learns. Like, you know, Rachel watches because she's a grandchild. She's your niece. Support. And we do the best that we can. Ain't none of us perfect. We all got our issues and stuff like that. But if I can see that you, like, I support you. I all of this because I know that I see the talent. I've seen see the talent in you. In our family, we come from a family of talent. We've got talent. We've got leadership ability. All of that. I need to be willing to support you. I don't have to be in your business. I don't have to tell you how to do it, but I should be willing to love you enough to say, "Hey, how you coming with that?" And be willing to even if I have to be on the sidelines, I just clap from the sidelines and say, yeah. And I personally I want to be proud. I want to be proud. Say, yeah, that's my niece, that's my nephew, that's my brother, that's my sister. And that's, to me, that's the dynamics of a family. It's like not outdo one another. Don't be on a campaign outdo, but support each other. Just saying, how can I support you?
How should mothers raise their sons and fathers their daughters and vice versa?
Well, through their own experiences and what they've learned from their experiences. That's how you can truly raise your children. Reaping the benefits from your experiences, good and bad, is how you raise your children. And then you purpose in your heart, like if you did come from a very harsh environment, the way that you were raised, then you should have a resolve in your heart. I'm not going to be the father that I didn't have. I'm going to be better. I'm going to try to be the father that I wanted. If I have that, or I'm going to be the mother that I wanted. If I keep that as my focus, and not to like, I'm going to show my mama how, not that kind of attitude, but it's like, if I can keep in my heart and think, well, what do I think a child would want from me? What do I think my daughter would want from me as a mother? What kind of guidance would she want, or what kind of guidance does she need? First and foremost, you got to, to me, I'm reading books and getting counseling and going to classes and stuff like that. And the same thing with a father. You look and say, what kind of what kind of son do I want? Do I want without being overbearing? What is it like? First of all, you gotta consult and deal with your issues that you had from that, what you felt you lacked from your parents, what you felt that you didn't get. Deal with that first. If you feel like, well, my dad didn't spend no time with me, deal with that. You gotta deal with that first, because unconsciously you could end up doing the same thing to your son, or your daughter as they come along. But if you deal with the issues of abandonment or whatever, deal with those first, and then you come up with a thing in your head about how am I going to not neglect my children. I'll give an example. Rudy came from a family of divorce, and his parents got divorced when he was 10 years old. And because I was thinking the other one, I told you, me and Rudy, we talk about everything. I'm talking about everything. There was no subject off limit. And one day I just asked him, I said, we were having a conversation, and I started the conversation off with, I said, first of all, I said, I want you to know, because I would do that from time to time. I said, I want you to know, I said, you are a hell of a husband and a hell of a daddy. And he would just laugh. He would go, Evelyn, I just want you to know. I said, this is me and you, we talking. And then I said, I just want you to know. I said, I'm going to start. But I got a question to ask you. I said, you shared with me, stuff that went on in your family and what ended up, your parents getting divorced. I said, what made you become the kind of father and husband that you became? He said, because I did not want even though he loved, don't get me wrong, he loved his father. He absolutely loved his dad. He said, but I took from that experience of what I grew up, I was determined I was not going to be that kind of a man. I wanted to be in my family's life. I wanted to be in my children's life. I wanted to be a hands-on dad. That's what he told me. He said, I just want to be a hands-on dad. I wanted to do the best that I could do. So that's what I said. He resolved. And I asked him, I said, how'd you, I said, we come in the era long before it was going to see a therapist and stuff like that. I said, how'd you do that? He said, I can't really tell you. He said, except I did see people in the neighborhood and stuff, fathers and stuff, men who I zeroed in on, and I said, okay, I want to be like son. So he had a couple uncles that he zeroed in on, and so that's why I said you have to make up your mind. As God gave us all our own mind, you have to make up your mind what kind of person you really want to be. What kind of mother do I really want my daughter to emulate as she gets older? I don't want her to be me, but do I want to set an example enough for that she would really want to? And the same with a father. Do I want to be, what kind of father do I want to be to my son? Where that I'm vulnerable, I'm open and stuff, so that he can continue to be the same way when he has his own children. So it's a resolve about how to be, about raising the kids. It's a resolve. What do I want? What do I... And not so much, with the expectations and stuff. Yeah, you're going to have expectations, but don't make that your focal thing. You want your child to be well balanced in this world where they, no matter what, they can hang in this world until it's their time to leave this earth. You want them to be free as such, without labels and without feeling like, well, if I don't live up to my mama and my daddy's expectations, don't do that. Don't do that to your children. Don't do that. But to resolve, and it's something that as a parent, like as a mother, it's something I had to constantly work on. I had to work on it. I had to keep it going. No. Oh, I got some here.
Okay. Share a memory from the old school that might inspire the younglings today.
Well, I know it's a generational thing, but I was taught, and my generation, we were taught how to be a lady. It wasn't assumed that we're gonna naturally be feminine and such. We were taught. I mean, literally taught. We had charm school. Like I went to. My mama had mama used to barter for services, and like how I got some of my one of my piano teachers. Mama used to crochet and sew, and so she used to what they call doilies, and Mama used to crochet these doilies, and so that's how she paid for me to get. I went to Miss. Her name was Miss Thomas, and she started a charm school. And so I would go to charm school. I went to charm school, and then she went from. Miss Thomas was real talented. We went from charm school. I learned a little piano from her. I learned ballet. She taught us ballet. I learned ballet, and then also with Mama. Well, Mama had it where she learned it from. I don't know, but she had it too. But I learned how a lady is supposed to sit, and you cross your ankles, and you this and that. Of course, nobody looks to that now. They don't. Girls don't need to do all of that. But I say, why not? I mean, it was good for me because, believe it or not, I know a lot of folks would not believe it, but I was a big time tomboy. I wanted to do what the boys did. Mama is the one who stopped me from playing football, and I was playing tackle football we ain't had no pads and stuff with black folks. I used to come in because I was so little. I'd come in and put on a pair of Heyman's pants because girls wasn't wearing pants back then. Girls did not wear pants. I'd get out there and get rough and tumbling with the boys playing football until one day Mama happened to see me and she just, girl, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? And she called me in the house. You are a girl. you're a young lady. You do not play those kind of rough sports like that. See, so that's what I'm saying. My memory, and that's how learning to just really being feminine. And then Mama helped me to embrace my femininity. I never was sorry to be a girl. I love being a girl. But I'm saying I was big time. I climbed trees. I almost fell out of a tree. It's a wonder that I could have. I was, when I say tomboy, I was a big time. I wasn't afraid to I just wasn't afraid. I climbed. They said climb that tree. I used to climb the tree in the backyard so I could see as far as I could see, and all kinds of stuff. One of the times that I fell, it's God's grace that I'm here, because I could have impaled myself on the fence because the branch, and I fell and all like that. But being feminine, I never had a problem with it. I love being feminine. Still do. Glad God made me a girl. And I think that some of that needs to be brought back to young ladies. Mama also taught me how you don't be desperate for having a boyfriend and all that kind of stuff. There's certain things now that we don't embrace anymore. And I think it's to our detriment, because so many of our young ladies are lost. They don't know how to truly embrace their femininity. They think the femininity, being feminine means any guy who come along, they give themselves up to that guy, or they are more or less in competition with another woman, and I gotta look a certain way, and I gotta do, rather than just embracing how God made you and looking to women who you admire and who you're willing to listen to. I don't regret any of the women in my life who continue to push me on to be feminine. So, Granny Alexander, Sister Ellis, Sybil French, my music teacher, I just said Miss Thomas, and then my other music teacher lived on the corner from it. I had so many women in my life. Thelma Mason, Jessie, Rita. I mean, just so many women I had in my life that I learned how to watch them navigate being a woman. And so, like I said, I have good memories of a high school teacher who pushed me on and told me that, if I had listened to her, I would have well, yeah, yes and no. But she always wanted me, this one teacher wanted me to be an English major because I had a thirst for words. I used to literally sit and read the dictionary. I would just read the dictionary. But I have such good memories of coming up feminine. My cousins, Nona, Emma, Maddie, Joyce, Rita, all of them. Even, Sandy, Rita, all of them, So I came up in in my era, we were feminine. My auntie Evelyn, my auntie May. We came up in that era, and I think we're missing that. I think young girls are missing that. But for those of us, the younger generation, if they would ask the elder women to help them in raising their daughters, we could bring that back. We could bring the feminine. We could show our girls how to, you can do a whole lot of things without sacrificing yourself, thinking that you got to be more masculine than feminine, And that's what I said. I have good memories of being female, and that's why I've never regretted being a female. I wouldn't want to be a man. Y'all had too many responsibilities as such. But I think it's kind of, at times but to me, I like being, I'm like I'm saying, I'm from the old school. I like a guy open the door for me. I like the man still pulling the chair out for me. That's why I love seeing the extension of Rudy through Cassie. Cassie opens the doors. His granddaddy taught him that. So I still embrace that. I love that. Man taking the packages for me, or wherever I am, a man says, hold on, miss, and they open the door for me. So I'm saying I embrace the femininity. So because I remember, here I am, 77 years old. I remember, being feminine, and sometimes I kind of cringe a little bit at how women are. It seems like they're just so hard, but I know that circumstances have made women change too. I have to admit that. I have to embrace that different situations women have had to put on that hard exterior, but so many of them are still just as soft and feminine on it, and just waiting for somebody to allow them to be feminine.
How good has God been to you and your family?
You talk about in retrospect for everything. I'm just gonna start.
Whole family, your immediate family, your extended
totally family. Awesome. It's too. I can't even begin to say how good God has been so good. Like Roselle sang the song Sunday. Down through the years, God has been good to me. And then the other verse says, all of my life. And so I periodically, more than periodically, often, I sit and I think back over how good God has been to us as a family, me personally, and all of that. God has been he's just awesome. And like in the bringing it straight down to the past 2 years. God has been so awesome to me and my family. Taking care of us with my fearless leader gone. God has been so gracious and so I just can't even tell how good God has been. He's made it where they're at first I was behind the trauma of Rudy dying, and then you immediately go, how am I going to live? How am I going to take care of myself? We had no money, and I was worried about that. And then God was stepped in right away and he used people to say, Evelyn, you need not worry about that. Because because that's how I am. I went into what kind of mode? I gotta do this. And God says, no, you're not. Because you're not in any kind of shape to do anything. You can't do nothing. I'm going to take care of you. And I'm telling you, Angel, for these past 2 years, I can't tell you how good God has been. He has taken such good care of me, Rudy and Cassie. He has taken, I'm telling you, he's taken such good care. I feel like I have Rachel laughing all the time, and my sister-in-law Ann. I said, I'm the black Shunammite woman, the one where the prophet, what she had, and she kept going to him, and he said, as long as you put that down in the barrel, is oil gonna be in there. And I know she was thinking, because I was gonna and she was gonna nah, I told you there wasn't nothing but enough oil in here for me to fix something for me and my son, and then we're gonna eat, and then we're gonna live in back. And now you telling me, but because she believed God and she trusted what the prophet said to her, God never let her down, and she ended up being able to help others because her well never ran dry. 2 years, I can say my well has never ran dry. I've been able to, and I want to do this to encourage widows and widowers, but mostly women. God will take care of you. It's a moment by moment thing of trusting Him to take care of you. I couldn't do half of the stuff that needed to be done without God stepping in. And I'm the kind of person, I'm very private. I'm not introverted, I'm just private. And all, because also other circumstances, like when Rudy went to prison, I learned for 4 years. I learned how to really learned how to manage that. But I mean, I was managing before then, but I really learned. And so when I just said, Lord, this is a new curve that I'm getting. But this curve here is just really a bit much. But God has, He has provided for me. I've not missed a meal. My refrigerator, if it's bare, it's because it was full, and we learned how not to waste food, and we ate it. You know what I'm saying? No waste there. But it's not because we didn't have. I can't say in these studios that I went without. No, I did not. He's kept the car going. He's kept the house going. I have not had my utilities turned off. Any of that. God has been just awesome, and I just see how He has worked with it. I have continued to tithe. I continue to do. I have, things that I do. God has helped my creativity to stay intact. He let it come. He has allowed it to come back. It's coming back stronger and stronger. I have days when I can't. But I'm saying the awesomeness of God is that, and how good He's been. He's kept me relatively well. My health has been, I got arthritis and all, but God has kept me good. He's kept my mind. Yes, there was days when I thought that, okay, this is it, I'm going to lose my man. This grief thing ain't nobody's joke. And the awesomeness of God has been how I feel God has been very patient with me as I've worked out issues and stuff like that. And He's helped me to grow. He's helped me to let go of stuff that has been weighing me down, as it in the book of Hebrews said about laying aside the sin and the weight that does so easily beset you, meaning laying aside the stuff that keeps you from moving forward. So I'm a work in progress. I put it like that. I am still a work in progress as God is working with me. And let's say His safety, the safety, God is, He's He's kept me secure. He's kept us all secure. And overall, too, not just, getting beyond myself. I look at the family since mom and daddy left. They were, I call them the ultimate cloud of protection over them. But since mom and dad, God has taken care of all of us. We have so much to be thankful for and grateful for, because so many families have become statistics.
Indeed.
God has been good to our family. We've not become those kind of statistics. He's been really good. He's helped us to prosper. And as I was telling Kasi the other day about his generation of cousins, and I said, you all are so gifted and talented. I said, God has blessed y'all. And I said, and you do have a responsibility to keep it going. You've got to keep it going, And when I look at that, I go like, you know what? Mama and daddies God has been gracious to mama and daddy to see us. And I said, if they are watching us, they have to be smiling, to see that the promises that God said from generation to generation, that we're all trying. We're all works in progress. We're works in progress. And the majority of us know that we're works in progress. And I said, God is just, Angel, I just can't even, I can't, it's kind of hard to put into words just how good God has been, with everything. I've seen him work mightily in you. I have seen God work in you. I've seen I've seen it. I see him constantly moving you forward. I constantly see that. And that also encourages me. Like during this period of time, and I realize I'm still in my grieving period. I realize that. But you encourage me. Others, I get encouragement.
I'm in school.
I get encouragement for it. When I do, one thing I want to publicly acknowledge is that when I've had some real low moments, and without fail, God, when I cry out, when I get that, I can't explain to anybody about how low I get. I get really low. But I cry out to the Lord and I say, Lord, I need help, and I need help right now. And without fail, the majority of the time, you call me and you minister to me. Yvonne will call me. And Yvonne will just say, Evelyn, how you doing? Or she'll say, I know where you're at right now. She'll tell me to relax and be kind to myself. You called me, Yvonne called me, my other best bud, Laura, she called me, and my sister-in-law, Ann, without fail, you all called me. God got y'all on speed dial. That's what I say. God has got y'all on speed dial. That you all in that moment when I'm really low. And then there are others too. And I thank God. I thank God for Tim. Tim calls me all the time. We talk all the time. And just encourage me to just keep going, because there are days when y'all do call, y'all don't know. It's just like I be looking for the bed to. I want to become one with the bed. I want the mattress. I want to become part of the mattress. Like, okay, Lord, this is the day. You can make me disappear into the mattress and they never even find me, because I be that down. But you all call me and you just what really good always gives me. You just go, Evelyn, How you doing? That's what you say. And because of that encouragement for these 2 years, that's what gets me up in the morning. It gets me up. At one period of time, I was having a rough time going to sleep, and I started getting into bed late. It was later and later. Sometimes 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm still up. But now to show you how the progress and because of the support that I've gotten, and there's so many people too that have just called and just encouraged me. But like I said, but without fail, God has always sent somebody to call me or text me that in that moment. I'm talking about in that moment to bring me back from the brink of despair. It's never been like it's just been I feel just hopeless. I would just feel hopeless. But he has always, he always would send the right person, and y'all always just say just what I needed. I wouldn't tell y'all, wouldn't know. There's no way that y'all would know, because it was in that moment when I was just in such despair. Phone would ring. My phone ring, and with y'all too, God has also helped me to be more and more transparent with how I'm feeling, rather than lie to y'all and say, "Oh, I'm okay, I'm all right." When you call me, I tell you. You know that. I tell you right out, I ain't good today. This is not a good day. And so that's what I'm saying. The awesomeness of God is like wanting to be more transparent so that God can help me. He has used you all to help me. And so like now, like I'm saying, now I get up even earlier. I went from staying up and not getting into bed till 3 o'clock in the morning till now. If I go past 10 o'clock, that's late. I'm getting into bed and I get up. I get up and I get moving and stuff, because I'm grand dog sitting right now, because Rach is out. We can't leave Miss Nina by herself. So, and that's brought a joy into my life too. But that's it. As I said, I can't put into words. If somebody was to ask me to write a book about how awesome God has been all through the years and all of my life, God has been good, I don't think I can write that book. I think I would. I'm pretty certain I would miss something. I would miss something about how good God has been, even when I was rebellious against Him, and wanted my life to be, ran by me. And you think back on it, I know you probably had that moment when you've been able to tell God, "Oh, God, you know what? Thank you for saving me from my foolish self. I could have done this. I could have been sitting."
There times I thought that venom monster was gonna come out and eat people. That's how I was a couple of times. I had to stay away from people because I think venom gonna come out and eat them.
I'm talking about, we're talking about going into them dark places.
Oh man.
I have been in some dark spaces. I've been looking like, you remember this scene in The Godfather when Michael was taking over the family, and that's how they ended it, with him sitting in there, and you could see he was changed. You saw that change. Michael became that hardcore. Every time I go like, okay, you're becoming Michael Corleone, okay? You know what I'm saying? Because you go into them dark, you can,
evil.
And guess what? The devil be setting up, him and his demons be setting up side like, come on, keep going. Yeah. Keep on down, keep on falling down there, keep on. But you there's that, because you belong to God, you go like, God, I don't want to do this. I don't want to stay in this space. Right. But I say, one of the things that helps you is being transparent with God too, and saying to God, this is what I'm thinking. I won't put my foot straight up so-and-so behind right now, right. Lord. This is what I want to do. And I'm talking about being honest with God. Like, you know what? I ain't asking you to save them right now. I don't care whether or not they get saved.
Right. I'm finna take them out.
I don't want to get. I want to get rid of them because they get on my nerves.
Right.
They get on my nerves. Because, and I've even felt that way. Like I said, the situations and stuff. There's been times in these past 2 years when the negativity has almost taken me over. Just negativity, just about taking me over. And I go like, my husband was such a gentle soul, and then the Lord, the devil would try to bring him back different situations where I know for sure that people said things, prejudged Rudy, stuff like that. And Lord was, not the Lord, the devil was said, he gone now, but look at what they did. Look at what so-and-so did, and look at how, he took me all the way back to this guy, this job he had, and how the guy Rudy was supposed to be getting paid. And the guy ran off with the money. Rudy didn't even have a clue. Nobody was working. They didn't even have a clue. And, but when Rudy found out what was going on and all like that, and I remember getting mad with Rudy because I said, y'all should have took this man to court. And they said, no, we ain't gonna do that. And they didn't. But the devil had me. I wanted to find the guy. I'm talking about since Rudy. And that happened so many years ago. But I was going like, now that my husband died, I want to find this guy because he took that money from my husband. I got into a mode where I thought that I was supposed to be gangster vindicator of, you know what I'm saying? And but then after a period of time, I just told her, you know what? I'm not going to move forward until I let go of anger and perception and stuff like that, bitterness and stuff. I said, I'm not gonna be moving forward. And so it was, like I said, it's been a process, and it still is a process, because like I said, it seems like though for every 4 steps that you make with God, the devil is right there trying to pull you back at least 2 steps. He wants to pull you back. He doesn't want you to walk in victory. Right. And so you learn how me and Rachel have adopted this phrase from, I don't know if you ever seen the Disney animation Encanto. Mm-hmm. Encanto is good, and there's a thing in there. If you see it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. There's a young man in there, and we call it, or we don't talk about Bruno when everybody, because Bruno was part of the family, and then but all of a sudden Bruno's not around anymore, and so when somebody would ask, when the young lady would ask, we don't talk about Bruno. So but what they didn't realize though was Bruno had the key to reuniting the whole family and the community. But because of their perception of Bruno, he had been an outcast. But what Bruno did was, instead of fighting with them, he said, I'll just move myself. So he moved himself. But they didn't know, although he wasn't in the community and with the family anymore, and he knew that he had been ostracized from the family, he was working on reuniting the family and working on reuniting the community. And so there's the phrase that me and Rachel use now, where that when something negative come up, we'll just say, we don't talk about Bruno. That means that no, we're not going to even allow ourselves to bring it, because you know that. I mean, you've experienced it. You could have a really, really good day, come in and close your eyes for a minute, and all of a sudden some crazy thought come in your head about something that happened 4 or 5 years ago. And next thing you know, you're in the dark. You're in the dark, and you're trying to figure out, what in the world? Where did this darkness come from? But that's because the devil is jealous of light. He is jealous of light. So that's how he's jealous of that. So
All right, next question or inquiry. Share some insights and opinions about the past, what's going on today, and where we need to be for a brighter future as a people, speaking as an elder.
well, one thing we need to do, we really need to be on a campaign to fight for family. We really need to. I feel if we be on a campaign for reuniting or uniting family, we would, because we would basically be of the same mind, because we would be promoting each other, period. We need to, what I see from the years is that there's too much emphasis still on other people's opinions of us, and there's no real uniqueness as such. We want to allow ourselves to be unique. You notice, you look and see, everybody's a carbon copy of whatever somebody like TikTok and all of these other things. They set the tone for the world rather than we should be setting the tone for TikTok. You get what I'm saying? We should be setting that. Just the sense of community that I know that I grew up with. When we grew up, everybody in the community, first of all, everybody knew everybody. I don't care. It wasn't just your block. You knew everybody who basically lived on your street from one end of, like we lived from I'll say from Outer Drive to Schaefer on Beecher Street. You knew just about everybody. And we knew each other. Not that we always but we knew each other. But you live in neighborhood. You don't know your neighbors. You don't know what they're doing. We have turned a blind eye to stuff like you got the slogans of you see something, say something. We shouldn't have to have that to tell somebody. We lost that. And it seems to me too as there's more craziness and corruption and stuff going on in the church than should be. The church is almost no different from being out here in the world. Children are raising themselves. We need to be, and that's something that I say as an elder, I look at. Parents need to be parents. And if you are a parent, you should be willing to listen to somebody give you some advice. Not tell you what to do as such. But you as a new parent or something should ask for suggestions. Well, how do I, rather than get bristled up with, this is my child and I know. No, but because that's why little whatever is being thrown out of daycare. Because you don't want nobody to say anything to her. And we need to, and that's this sense of, to a family learning that. Don't let putting a child on some Adderall or whatever, whatever. Put them on drugs. Well, we drugging our kids at such an early age because talking about they got ADD. ADD sometimes may be ADHD, may just mean the child, and also it just might mean that child needs some one-on-one attention. I know the circumstances are not, some parents work around the clock just to try to make the rent and keep them food on the table. But I'm saying you got a purpose in your heart though, that because you did make a decision, God gave you the choice. You had a choice now. You chose to keep this child. God is the one who opens the womb. So you got this child now. Your focus then should be around, how am I going to raise this child to the best of my ability? And incorporate your village. Ask your village to help you. Because you cannot do this. You can't do this alone. What I just went through, the grieving process, I couldn't go through this by myself. I could not make it by myself. I had to embrace. I had to let people, hey, look, y'all going to have to hold me up. And so what I've learned throughout these years, that you do need people. You do need people. You don't have to pursue and chase after people that live. Yeah. But those who really want to be with you, they're going to be with you. And you don't have to, you don't have to, you don't have to pursue like that. You don't have to pursue. But you should not, you should let your heart become soft and tender where that, I've had a problem for tons of years with forgiveness. I'm still not all the way there, but I'm saying I'm a whole lot better than I was, and I learned a whole lot about forgiveness. And like I learned, one of the main principles I learned what was hindering me was because my way of thinking was forgiveness means I'm giving you a pass. Give you a pass for what you did to me. I'm letting you off the hook. That's not what that means. Forgiveness, it just really means just what Jesus said. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they do, what they've done. And sometimes people really don't know the depths of their hurt that they have. But I had to come to realize what was keeping me from moving forward was my unforgiveness of what perceived. Because I'm saying, if you still thinking about something that happened 20 years ago, just think of how much further along in your journey you would be if you had learned how to be able to, truly forgive, truly get past it. And it don't mean that it ain't gonna come back up in your memory or stuff like that. That's not what forgiveness means. But forgiveness does mean, though, when it does come back in there, you acknowledge and you say, look, you know what, Lord, yep, that's coming back up there. But Lord, thank you, because I'm saying the devil mess with you all the time now. He never stopped. But you say, and I tell people, I say, on certain issues, agree with the devil, because you know he the one messing with your man. I talk out loud to the devil. I do. I said, yeah, that happened. I said, but guess what? Somebody greater than you moved me from that. So shoot your next shot, because I'm not going to spend another second thinking about something that happened 5 years ago. The Lord has brought me through, and that's how I constantly say, okay, Lord, this negative came into my mind. Roll down the sheet of the goodness so that I can move on. I don't want to spend any more time on this because it serves no purpose. Because, as we say about the past is still the past. It's not going to change. But your future, where you go from that past, that's what means. To me, that's what it means the most. And like I said, our society and all of the stuff that's going on, the greed, we need some kind of way. We got to figure out how not to get so caught up in the greed and just caring about ourselves. We only care about ourselves. A lot of that is happening now. It's like, that's their issue. That's not mine. We need to be able to teach our children, which I appreciate. I see them. We're teaching that there are movements going on where we're teaching children to help one another, be open to one another, caring about their community, even if it means just little Johnny and little Bobby out there picking up the trash. We need to bring back some of what worked then can work now. I'm talking about the positive stuff. It could definitely it could work if we wanted to work. And we need to stop being so self-absorbed, wearing our feelings on our sleeve. We need to stop being in other people's business, try to figure out what they're doing, because they ain't got nothing to do with you. If you can't do nothing to promote them, you need to. We just need to stay in our own lane. That's what we need to do. We need to stay in our own lane. Stop being envious. And another thing too. Stop letting the world be your
Compass.
Yeah. Stop trying to pattern your life out of what Denzel is doing or whoever. They living their life. They don't know you from a can of paint. But you got like I said, that younger generation. They it's almost like they fall into line like robots, which they are basically. Yeah.
I think a lot of the younger generation, they have their own identity and their own pursuit of things. It's just misunderstood because just like when we came up, we were misunderstood by our parents. Mm-hmm. And it's just a development and the evolution of what's to come. And I think all we have to do is kind of like keep the guardrails on the road so they don't fall off the cliff. You know, you let them evolve and let them grow.
Yes, sometimes.
And let them develop. And when you see them going up, don't go that way. Come this way a little bit. Yeah. Don't necessarily tell them you got to do this.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But let them say, "Hey, that's encouraging.
That's a good idea.
Good feel. Let them feel it out. If it don't work out, then you tell them, well, I thought that you wouldn't like that, but I wanted you to experience that for yourself, and let them grow and evolve into their own being." And then just, you know, kind of guide them on the way to themselves.
Absolutely. And that's why I try my best still to keep up what's going on out here. And like I said, I have conversations with me and Katya, and I go like, well, have y'all ever considered such and such?
Yeah.
That's the way he and I talk. I said, well, you know what? I said, now how does this work? When he told me, I said, how does this work? I said, tell me about it. Like, I'm trying my best to learn technology, but I don't want to get all into it because I'm a kind of person, though. If I get into it, I'm into it, and it takes up all my time. So I'll go like, no, let me just learn enough to be functional, and, you know, and all. But I do like encouraging the young people. That's why I said it's like, I don't try to live through them. I don't try to knock down their dreams. I just would like for them to take, like I'm saying, it's for them to learn how, when you're making a cake, you gotta have a lot of different ingredients in the cake.
That's right.
You just gotta have, you can't just make a cake with just flour.
The temperatures and the mix gotta be right.
It just, and teaching them, it's just like, Kasi learning how to barbecue.
Sometimes you blend, sometimes you mix, sometimes you fold.
Yes, like
sometimes you put all the eggs at one time. Right. Sometimes you put them in one at a time.
Right, like we tell like Rudy really taught. He always had a Kasi out there with him when he was barbecuing. So Kasi was learning stuff. So like now Kasi barbecued, and he got a lot of his how to do the ingredients and stuff. He got that from his mama. His mama taught. But then she stepped back and she said, "Nah, you gotta make this your own. You come up with your own blends. You could, but the thing is, we had to teach him though that, you know, in order to make good barbecue, you got to have all kinds of seasoning. You don't just load the ribs up with salt or the ribs up with salt, but you got to use a combination of this, that, and that's what I say that young folks need to be able to listen, and what they feel that they can really use from us, use it. And if you think it's too old and too old-fashioned, well, don't use it. But and I'm a kind of person too. If you ask me what worked for me, I'm going to specify and say to you, this is what worked for me. I can't guarantee you that it's going to work for you, but this is how I made my cake, you know, and you know, yeah, we experiment a little bit, and you learn something, I learn something, but encouraging to the young people. See, as we get older, we have to realize we're going to be off the scene. So it is our duty to encourage the young people, even with, like you said, about what's going on now, the ecology of the world. We need to be encouraging the young people about global warming and how do we, you know, stop wasting water and, you know, all of the resources that we have. We need to be, we older generations and stuff, we need to step back and listen to some of their ideas that they have. Because, of course, their ideas aren't going to be ours because we had our turn. They got something new they working on. You know, and give them the chance to see if it'll work, and give them the opportunity too for them to say, okay, this didn't work, let's try something else, rather than shoot them down and say, we told you that wouldn't work. No, say, well, you know what? Go back to the drawing board. You come up with something different, and that's why I think the older generation, we should be encouraging the young people to be moving the world along in politics, all of that, because you know politics is a mess now. One reason why I say politics is well, you know, it's obvious. We know one, but the other obvious reason is that you got all of these old fuddy-duddies who don't want to move on. They will not embrace something new. Up there in Washington, we know it's majority European, Caucasian, whatever you want to call them, white people. We need to give the young people, allow the young people to have a fresh voice, fresh ideas. Of course, we're not going to automatically embrace them. Why? Because they're new. They fresh. We ain't never heard of this before. But give them a chance to let it work. Just like, you know, how folks is just so, and well, of course, we know this, America is so age conscious. They want to, now it's like, I keep hearing of you almost every day about, well, Joe Biden don't need to be president no more because he's old. We going by the numbers. The man has still got sense. Now, if he was, I mean, of course, I know we don't know everything, but I'm saying that the man was acting as crazy as number 45 is still acting. Who would want him back? Why do people want him back in the White House? Joe Biden, as far as I'm concerned, he's still doing a good job. He can stay in there. He's doing stuff as he can do it. Just because of the numbers of it and his age, I don't consider him too old to still. I feel like as long as he alert and he ain't push no buttons, he ain't push the red button. I say he's all right. So we need to accept the fact that older generation, our baby boomers, we need to accept the fact that we're getting older. We can't do what we want to do. We feel that we can still do it. But we should be willing to move aside and let and embrace our elderliness. We need to be able to embrace it. I've learned to do that. I've learned. My mind be telling me, you know, that I got the mind of a 30-year-old, but my body be telling me something different. So I've come to the conclusion, like Evelyn, you know what? Like I use my walker even more now. Because I need to. And I've gotten to the place where I feel like, I ain't got to impress nobody. If this walker helped me to move better, girl, use the walker. So that's what I do. And that's what I feel that we should do. If we need to be able to get to the place of older generation. If we need to lean on the young people, allow ourselves to lean on the young people. And trust them. They gonna make mistakes, but you gotta go back to in your own history. You ain't where you are without you having made mistakes.
And there's really no mistakes, it's only lessons.
That's all it is.
Lessons in life.
Missteps or something, whatever. I don't even call it missteps. It's like, okay.
Lessons in life.
Like I'm saying, okay, so I was walking along, I didn't see this gully hole there. So I twisted my ankle. Well, what I do after that?
Next time,
I be walking down and I be looking to see is there gully holes on this road. And now if I walk back in that gully hole that time, that's my fault. See, I'm saying just put a mark up there and say, oh, you know what, can I walk around? And I'm saying, you realize the gully hole is still going to be the gully hole. It's there. But is there a way around it where that I can still go on my journey? And that's what we need to do in life, especially, like I said, my generation. It's like, these young folks, like I said, just quit dogging them about, like, me and Cassie laugh all the time. I go like, half the time y'all do stuff don't make no sense to me. I said, but it makes sense to y'all. That's all that matters. I said, it ain't supposed, and I kept telling him, I said, Cassie, it ain't supposed to make sense to me. The stuff you be doing on TikTok and all these other places, it don't make it don't. I'm gonna like, what in the world is it? But then I'm gonna, okay, they know better than I know, you know. And then I'm willing though sometimes, like certain music out here, and I say, Kazi, what they saying? What is it? When Kazi explained to me what they saying, I said, oh, okay, I got it. It don't mean I'm necessarily going to embrace it, but I got it because I gave him an opportunity to explain the words and knowledge. I said, oh, okay, that's where y'all at. Okay. And you know, and that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do.
What do you think is the most beautiful thing about our family and the black family in general?
In overall, which it does include our family name, is that unity usually. It's the black family in general and all, but still pulls for staying united and staying together, promoting each other and not letting outside forces, no matter what it is, poverty, whatever it is, get in the way. We still have a sense of, I'm going to help you. If I hear that you need something, I'm going to help you. I'm not going to get in your business and say, why you spend your money this way? No, if you say you need, to me, about family in general, what has happened, especially black families, is like, there are people who, I know not to put, if you got an issue, I know not to put the money in your hand. But if you call me and say, I need food, my kids need food, I'm going to go grocery shopping. So that sense of unity, I think that's something that I believe that black folks in families, our family, other families, I believe that is going to continue. I don't believe that is ever going to end, about uniting and holding each other up and helping each other to move forward. I don't think that is going to ever go away. I believe that we're always going to be supportive of each other. We may not like each other all the time, and I'm talking overall, whatever, but I'm saying, but when the need comes, when there's time that we need to rally around, I believe that, because that's something that I've seen in my readings and stuff. There's a thread that has been, especially in the black culture, period, that goes all the way back in time, is that sense of unity that we've always pulled. We that sense of survival and pulling the next person right along with me. We have kept that. We've kept that spirit of, I'm gonna help you, and without conditions. But because of conditions, I'm gonna pull you along with me. You know what? If we gonna drown, we're gonna drown together. I'm not gonna swim toward the shore and tell you I'm coming back. No, I'm gonna come on. I'm gonna take you with me. I'm gonna take you right along with me. I'm gonna try my best to pull you along with me, and so that you know that I genuinely care. I care about you, and that's what I feel is that. I think too, the black, some, you've heard things that, as far as I'm just speaking about black people, black culture is gonna survive. I don't know when God is when we allow Jesus to come back, but I believe that black culture, black families, we're gonna survive. We ain't gonna be wiped out. We're not gonna become what do you call it, extinct. I do not believe the black family is gonna become extinct. I don't, because we are a people too. We have embraced everybody basically. You look at our history.
Everybody comes from us.
Hello, but I'm saying, in spite of what the racist white culture has done, you will find that the most accepting, inclusive people, this is my opinion, that I have seen, is black people. We're going to welcome you in. We're going to welcome you in. You in need, white, black, purple, whatever. You hungry, come on in here and get something to eat. And that's why I say, I believe that that's one of the benefits and the rewards from God, is because we are inclusive, because of our our history. Period. We have been more, and like I said, I've studied a lot of cultures, and one of the ones that has always stuck out with me about including people and helping people move along has been the black culture. Our people, we are something. God made us something special. Because if you think in strictly human terms, just human terms, and if you even want to try to take God out of the equation, black folks should have been extinct a long time ago. Just from the real mistreatment that we have gotten and we still get. We should have been extinct by now. But God says no. Because I don't think that we know as a black culture as such our full potential. I don't think we've reached our full potential. I don't. I really don't, because we're always doing something new. We might not get acknowledged for it, but we, as a culture, we are. And I think maybe too, my age group, the elders and all, we should really be emphasizing to the younger generations about their royalty, that they are kings, queens, princesses, and princes. I think we should be doing more of that. We should be letting them know, like that dignity. Like in the 50s and 60s when the Martin Luther King Jr., that's what lifted us up even more. When the civil rights movement was going, we learned even more. We had dignity, but during that period of time with civil rights, we walked with the dignity. They did some everything to us, and that's why I say we still here. They turned water hoses on us. They burned us. They killed us. They shot us. They lynched us. You name it, they did it to us. But in spite of all of that, we still, as Maya Angelou said, and still I rise. Why? Because God wants us to. That's why. That's right. I tell anybody that. I said, because God wants us to.
That's right.
Yeah, I said, hey, ain't no human being got nothing to do with how we say, God got this.
That's right. And
I says, now, if God wanted it to end, it would end. But I don't see God wanting it to end. I don't. I really don't.
Any other encouraging words?
I just feel that we need to stop being so petty about stuff that's irrelevant. I feel that we need to, on purpose, encourage each other. Not only encourage each other, but we need to, on purpose, forgive. And when people say forgive and forget, I don't quite hold with that, because for some reason, the way we are made, like I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, we can't forget stuff. Some stuff we get because it keeps coming back. If we could forget it, it wouldn't come back. See, so that's why I say, but to dwell on it, now that's something different. When it come back, you just, hey, look, I'm not dealing with that. That's over and done with. I'm done with that. I'm done with that for today. We need to keep encouraging the young people. We need to keep on encouraging ourselves too. Because I'm an elder doesn't mean I'm supposed to sit in a corner somewhere and like the cliche has been, throughout the years, you get old, you just sit, knit, and crochet. I ain't got no problem with sitting, knitting, and crocheting, because I love to do it. I say as an encouragement is to do what you love. If you're blessed enough to do what you love to do and you make some money off of it, that's even better. That's even better. But also another thing to encourage is finding joy in the simple things of everyday life. On purpose, every single day, find at least one thing to be grateful and thankful for. That'll get your day started, I'm telling you. Long before I had started, it was funny, I remember when Oprah started on her show with doing the Grateful Journal. Well, I had been doing that long before Oprah came along. I never said anything to anybody. That was during the time too when Rudy went into the system, and I was trying to find my way back. That was a period of time when I was angry with God. I was very angry with God when Rudy went into the system. I was real mad with God, but then I worked that out because I knew what I needed to do and I did it. But I came up with being great, finding something to be grateful for every single day. I didn't write it down. I didn't make no journals. I just said to myself, I'm going to be thankful for something every day. And I would just find something to be thankful for every day. And so like now, it's my mantra. I find something to be thankful for every single day. Just the simplest of things. I'm grateful you bought me lunch. I mean, I find something to be thankful for every day. I thank for my family, and I think I like when it comes to thankfulness, I think about our family. We have truly been blessed. Yeah, our patriarch and matriarch is gone, but we're all still here. The grandkids are here. We're not statistics. It's more boys in our family than there are girls. But nobody's in prison. Nobody's doing, life in prison. God has been good. God has protected. He's protected those of you who have been in the military and those who are still in the military. See, so I'm saying I can run it. Someday I do. I say, now run it to the Lord. And I tell him, thank you. I don't be ashamed about it. I tell him, you know what, I'm grateful. I'm just grateful. I'm thankful. We got new life coming into our family. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Too. And another thing that I say to encourage, but not being judgmental. We need to stop being judgmental. Because everybody have their own journey. If I can help you, I should purpose in my heart that I want to help you rather than judge you. Because so many people have really walked away, fallen away, whatever way from their square because of judgment. People have judged them. Bible tells us to judge yourself first so that you don't be judged. So if I'm busy judging myself, I really don't have time to judge you, Angel. I don't have time. I got so much stuff. I got so much to work on myself. So that's an extent of being petty, just not judging each other and just caring about each other and doing what you can. You know what? Just doing what you can to make, as the song says, brighten the corner where you are. Just if you can bring a little sunlight to somebody, do that. Like I said, I've learned some days I absolutely feel that in these past 2 years, I've learned more about life and stuff than I have in all the other years that I've lived. I just really, really do. I understand more and more the scripture that I know is right, because as it smokes, it's clearing for me. And so I really come to appreciate from the Old Testament when Isaiah said, in the year that the king died, that's when I saw the Lord high and lifted up. That I use that for myself is that, and being honest, and like I said, transparent. I have no problem with being transparent. Do I still feel lost? Yeah, I do. I mean, not only just LOSS, but I still feel LOST. I don't feel hopeless.
They have felt helpless before.
Yeah. I don't know. Some days I don't really know what I'm feeling. Um,
I call that psychic vertigo.
Yeah.
You don't know
I don't
know
yeah.
quite where you at. But
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Because it's getting better for me. But there was, of course, and I know this is expected. My focus was just all over. I got to just lose my. I don't lose it as much, but I do still lose my focus. But I've learned how to be kind to myself about when I do lose my focus. That's one of the purposes of. I get up. I have my devotional. I get up, and I really don't know what I'm feeling. I don't know, but I may start on a project, and I lose my focus. I look down, girl, what are you doing? That's when I now know to stop that particular thing. Stop doing that because you've lost your focus. I stop that, and sometimes it just means I put my head back and take a little nap or something for a minute, or sometimes I literally have to get up and leave that area and go and do something else. See, so I'm saying I'm learning how, like, this is so much. Like I said, the Lord has taught me so much. He's taught me even more about where that I really had to come to grips with. Rudy, for me and my humanness, he was my security. He was my ultimate security. But the Lord had to show me that no, Rudy was not your ultimate security. He was an agent of mine. I am your ultimate security. So that's what I'm saying. I had to come to learn that. And even now, the Lord he's just been showing me so much because I was, like I said, from the human standpoint, strictly human standpoint, Rudy was my all in all. He was it for me. I can't explain to anybody how deep, this is just how we were just so connected. But like now I'm seeing where that he was strictly an agent of God. You know what I'm saying? He was an agent. He was an agent who helped me to grow. Really helped me to grow so much. That's why I said, if somebody might say, why is she? I said, you just don't understand. God put this man in my life, but at times he was just so deep. I just go like, whew. But now that he's physically gone, I understand and I appreciate how much he was so devoted to God, and he helped me to grow. And I'm still growing. And I remember him saying too that he just wanted me to be all that I was supposed to be. You know, just, and he would just say, he said, I just hope I'm around to see your growth. I believe he sees it. I believe he sees it. That's why I say it's so important. Like, I've also learned how trivial stuff, I can't get caught up in it no more. It's literally when you know, like I said, we say the cliche stuff. But time, you waste time and you end up having regrets and stuff. Now, I don't have no regrets. I don't have regrets. Except, like I said, regret, I wish I had more time with him.
Yeah.
But the time that I did have with him, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it, it was well worth it. I wouldn't trade my relationship with him for nothing in this world. I wouldn't turn it back at all. And because I know that he tried his best to live the way God wanted him to live. And he was so full of love. Rudy was full of love. He was a lot of people mistake but that's the military part of him. That's all that was. That's strictly, he wasn't nothing but a big old teddy bear. He was a man's man. But he was literally wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. He really was. And I thank God for that, because I'm saying, like, I don't believe that in this moment right now of this 2 year, that I would be where I am now if he had. I don't. And I thank God all the time. I wake up in the morning telling God, thank you for having chosen me to be his wife. But like I said, I come to realize, Rudy was an agent of God. He let God use him. And just the love and all that I still receive from his family is tremendous. And they always talk about their respect for him. And so I want to be an example of that. It's amazing. Like, on both sides of the immediate family, because in our large family, the matriarch truly in our family, across the door, would be Noni's sister Joyce. She is the matriarch of our family. At large, I'm talking about overall. But the immediate family, the Lewis and Cross, I am the matriarch. Don't want to be, But having said that, though, I do want to be an example of the quiet, simple life. I just do. I just do. And I just feel I'm too old for foolishness. I am. I'm just saying, listen, 70, I'm too old for that. I'm too old for foolishness. And I'm grateful for every day God gives me. When I wake up, I tell him, thank you for giving me your breath again this morning. And that's where I am. That's where I am. And I hope that I have encouraged, and even like I'll leave it, I want to say that the women who are widows, I want them to know you can make it. You can make it. You may not feel like you can make it. You may not want to make it, but you can make it. And within time, you have to be patient with yourself. Allow yourself to feel all that you need to feel. Work it out. And let God use you in the way he wants to use you. Because you can. I got a couple of books that I want to promote. This one book is called Widow's Walk. And it's called Experiencing God After the Loss of a Spouse. And his name is Gary Rowe. You can look him up. His book. Yeah, and let me tell you the thing about this. This book came out. Rudy died January the 2nd, 2022. This book came out January 20-something, 2022.
Wow.
How about that?
Look at that.
How about that?
Yeah.
How about that? My buddy found out this book and she saw it because she had given me this other one. He had this other book called Grief Walk, which I was reading that and I was going like, okay, this is good. But then she said, wait a minute, I done found another one. And in 2022, it was January 7th. I think he said this book came out. And I said, oh my gosh. I said, Lord, you was already trying to prepare me. Already trying to prepare me. So,
Okay.
But, yeah. So
well, I've enjoyed talking with you, and
good. If you want to
it's
come again,
wonderful,
I'm all for it. And once again, too, I want to just say thank you for all the love and the support that everybody gave me, whoever you are, wherever. I do not take it for granted. That's what keeps me going every day. Last night, for a moment, after I talked to you, I had a brief wave, and I said, I can't do this. I ain't ready to talk about grieving. I ain't ready. And God said, yeah, you are. And then even this morning, when I got up for a moment, I said, no, I'm going to call you and tell him I can't do it. And I said, no, you can do it. Then when Rachel came in, she said, Mama, how are you? I said, Bear, I don't know. She said, you can do this. You ready? She said, you gonna be good. She said, now you know she said, now you know Uncle Adrian's gonna be kind and gentle with you. He gonna, if you need to take your time, whatever. And I said, I know. And I promised her, I said, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Because Adrian, I think it was time. It was time. It was time. Like I said, I still got a long ways to go. But I appreciate you.
Yeah.
You're a good interviewer. I like you. I like the way you do. And that's why I say I pray that God frees you from. So this is a gift for you. This being interviewing and stuff like that. It's good. You're good. You're good at it. You're good at it. I think this is your what do you call it? Your second leg. I do for your journey in life. I really do. I sincerely do. He let you get the equipment, and you're going to get even more equipment.
Okay.
And I'm going to trust the Lord that you get this, what is it, the grant that you...
Fellowship. Fellowship.
I'm asking the Lord. So now, when you did that, what did you have to submit?
I had to, you have to fill out an application, ask you a bunch of questions.
Oh, okay.
Then you submit some of your work.
Well, yeah, come on now. I'm just hoping.
I didn't have the videos to submit, but I had some music.
Oh, okay.
And then I put my website on there.
Okay,
so
well, okay. Well, if they get your website, then they will, yeah. Okay. I'm trusting the Lord that you get some. And then if that one, it don't work out, he gonna, stuff is up. I'm been listening and looking on TV. It's a movement going on to help people, like especially small businesses. They want the world now. They want this. They want it, especially here in Detroit. They seem to be wanting to move people along. You know. And I told the Lord I'm gonna stop questioning their motivation and such. I said because, we already know. That's what I'm talking about. Some stuff you already know what's behind it. It's like you ain't got to, Evelyn, you ain't got to keep asking, what is it? Oh, you already know. Right. You already know what the motivation is. But I say this. If God wants you to have it, He's the one who makes them turn them purse strings loose.
That's
you know?
Right.
Just think of where the mission would not have been if Daddy had listened to the naysayers and trust me, I don't know you. I know you probably heard of the crap that Daddy had to put up with because he was quote taking money from white folks. Well, duh. Black folks wasn't helping. Daddy's calling was to help the community and all, not just to go from pulpit to pulpit just preaching. God gave Daddy a vision of helping the total man in every aspect. Now, Daddy didn't know where that was going to come from, but him and Mama was willing to step out and start what they started. God let the white folks hear because they had the money. The white folks said, hey, we'll put some money behind you. And that's what they did. Now, like I said, Daddy caught flack from some of everybody, even within the family. About some negative stuff was said about that was not true about that Daddy was begging and running after white folks for money. That's a lie from the pit of hell, and I know that for a fact. That's a lie. Daddy's biggest struggle was accepting the money from the white folks. But then God helped Daddy to see, this, first of all, this ain't your work, this is God, this is my work. God had to show Daddy that. So that you see all of that restructuring, the building itself, all of that. That's because white folks, God made them white folks turn loose their pockets. And but just think of would the mission have been as well known and as having a positive effect on the world, period, if Daddy hadn't been able to get past even the racial undertones and overtones. Just think about that. See, sometimes we got to get beyond ourselves. When we get beyond ourselves, we do okay. But when Daddy got beyond that, just look at all the stuff that happened for the mission. Look at it. I'm talking about, we can talk for hours. Families that was helped. Families got housing, jobs, cars, all kinds of stuff. Just helping people, the influence. Helping people get out of jail, everything. But just think if Daddy had been stuck and said, now because it's coming from the white folks, I don't think so. I don't think the mission really would have really gotten off the ground the way it did. And like I said, yeah, Daddy made mistakes and stuff all along the way, but I'm just saying, answering the call. He did what God, like I said, a lot of stuff we didn't understand, even as being his children, stuff like that. But as I get older, I'm starting to look at a lot of stuff that I know that I was exposed to, and I'm starting to look at it and go like, oh, okay, I didn't understand that then, but I do now. I understand it, and just our whole upbringing, every last one of us, from me to you, what do? We help people.
Yeah. I think it's something like my supervisor at work, he has a saying, be positive, polite, and professional. And as I was so attracted to that phrase because that's how Mom and Daddy raised us.
Yes.
Positive, polite, and professional.
Yeah, absolutely.
And life professionals, not just an occupation.
No.
But we were always positive, polite to people, and professional. I just slipped up sometimes.
Oh, we got
cussed a bunch of people out or whatever.
Please.
But for the most part, the core and the sum total of our character and my character is positive, polite, and professional.
Yes. Like I said, even when people have been stupid toward us, for a hot second, a cross will look at you and say, now, do I turn around and pop this so-and-so in the mouth? Or do I remain,
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what we do, because that's how we were raised that way. Like I said, being positive, professional, and just all but that's all we know, though. Yeah. That's the thing. I have seen. I'm saying I don't think there's not a single one of us, basically, that I haven't seen us in action when we had to do something with somebody, that we haven't, that professional part of us and the classy part of us haven't come out. I haven't seen not one of us really act ghetto. I've not seen that. I mean, I haven't. I mean, we and like I said, we're all in different stations and places in life. But because of our upbringing, and like I said, we still are in the business of helping people. Our progeny behind, they are helping. They are there. They're doing it. They're doing it because why? Too, the grandchildren are passing it on to their children. See, that's what I'm talking about, that generational. Yeah. Hey, we got to keep it going. We got to keep encourage. We got to encourage them. Like, keep that going. Keep that going. That's how families just keep going. you know. And another thing, a good thing that I said, you even still said, why were people still pulled toward us as a family, the Cross family? People still are pulled toward us, you know, when they get. But that's because we try. I believe, my personal feeling, I believe, like I said, from me all the way down to you, we have still tried to live up to the legacy that was left to us. We have still been trying to honor mom and daddy in our service to people, our service to people, our service to God. I do. I feel that we are still trying. I do. The best that we can. I do. I feel we're doing good. We're doing good. And that's why I believe too, God has really been blessing us. Yeah. He's just really been blessing us, and I think there's a whole bunch of more blessings to come too. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
I'll play something. I'll say, okay, I'll play, that I did the other day. I played, I played some Christmas carols. That's what I did.
Okay.
I played Christmas carols.
So over on eastbound I-94, right at Shane, you've got your left lane blocked there. Major slowdowns here. And then also over on the southbound side of the
That's beautiful.
beautiful.
I like
You know,
that.
I was looking at this news about how they be talking about dealing with the cold, and I'm like, don't these folks, they from Michigan? But see, people don't realize, but a lot of people don't realize, it just came to me, Evelyn. The demographics of Detroit changes every 20 to 30 years. Of people from different states and everything comes here in different countries, and a lot of people move away for jobs. But you know, Detroiters are everywhere, all over the world. They're all over the world, because everywhere I've been, I met somebody from Detroit.
Yeah. And that's what Rennie said.
Or
All the way out
Michigan.
there.
Either Michigan or from Detroit.
I like playing the strings.
Yeah, I know.
I
know that's. I never would have thought to play them with
string.
chords and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've always tried to play it like make it sound like violins. And stuff.
And I've done. Let's see, what else have I played? I've done the
electric piano.
I think,
have you tried that one?
And I did.
I'm gonna play. I want to hear you play electric piano. Electric piano.
Yeah. I think I done did them all. I think I have. I think I done played them all.
That's nice.
Have you tried any of them?
Yeah.
You have to try them all. Cause I'm trying to think which. Now I love the grand piano, but the strings is my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done the electric organ. I did that. Yeah, I like them. But that's what I'm saying. That's what sometimes my day start or my day use it. And if you think it's too old and too old fashioned, well, don't use it. But and I'm a kind of person too. If you ask me what worked for me, I'm going to specify and say to you, this is what worked for me. I can't guarantee you that it's gonna work for you.